In West Michigan, join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
Well, there's never a dull moment like drinking fire, as we say often, but today we really mean it. A couple of big breaking news stories. And I got to pull the curtain back. Got to show you how the sausage is made. The fake news, the latest story, debunked. Why is this one big? Because it'll be used as talking points. And it's crucial to understand that really the propaganda war we're in right now. So we'll do just that coming up here in just moments. First, our big
news, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now, today's Big Three.
Stories that matter most. We'll be talking about these around the water cooler, the dinner table, no matter where you are. Powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage, Dave Galloway and the team. You know, they helped us save thousands when we refinanced, when we bought our home. And then again, the home equity line of credit. Gosh, I got to tell you, I've been talking about Dave and his team for years now. And the folks that listen, when they first heard me talking, they saved thousands right along with me. And I just wonder, what are you waiting for? Maybe now's the time you're looking at moving, or maybe you're looking at doing a refinance. Those rates are coming down. Maybe you just want to get ready, get prepared for when they move even lower. Well, now's the time to reach out. HHMlending.com. Make sure you do it today.
Number one.
And you get all the info you need. It happened late last night. Now, sometimes the things that happen under the cover of darkness, you get raise an eyebrow about here and there, particularly when it comes to things happening on Capitol Hill. But we've got a story here from the Senate advancing the funding for the Department of Homeland Security in a move.
This vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 48, and the concurrent resolution, as amended, is agreed to.
Is going to push that funding through. The Democrats have been trying to avoid and hold hostage here for quite some time. Democrats won't be able to block it.
Number two.
That's the story we're hearing, by the way. They pushed through that budget resolution, 50-48 overnight, $70 billion for ICE and Border Patrol, paving the way to reopen DHS via the reconciliation process. Of course, more on this as we continue to unpack it for you. Unconstitutional, that's what they're saying. A Virginia judge ruling the redistricting referendum in Virginia the other day unconstitutional. So they'll block this. They won't see the light of day of this anyway anytime soon. And Jack Hurley is the judge, Tazewell Circuit Court, blocking at the voter-approved congressional maps. Now, it's just as bad, maybe even worse than what they did here in Michigan a few years back. It would essentially take Virginia from a 6-5 split, Democrats and Republicans, which is probably closer to where that state is, to a 10-1 split. It would be 10 Democrats, 1 Republican serving in the House, according to this split, which, again, is absolute shenanigans. Speaking of which, more shenanigans happening in the strait.
Number three.
This time, overnight, U.S. forces carrying out a maritime interdiction.
Border vessel Majestic X, we intend to conduct the boarding of your vessel.
It's just outside Strait of Hormuz. In fact, this is in the Indian Ocean.
Border vessel Majestic X, we intend to conduct the boarding of your vessel.
This one, apparently one of those that was sanctioned, had some Iranian oil on it. Part of Tehran's shadow fleet. Officials say the introduction sending a clear message. International waters offer no safe haven for ships helping Iran evade sanctions. Latest action building on recent boardings and underscores America's commitment to disrupting illicit oil networks worldwide, according to folks at the Navy. And I don't know if you saw the story yesterday. Secretary of the Navy, well, he made to walk the plank in some ways. There's a story behind this story. I'm going to try and give you that, plus pull the curtain back on the fake news today. And more. We got good news out of our own backyard, making major national news and in the education front. We'll tell you about that coming up as well. In the meantime, you want to join the program, you can at any time. Use the iHeartRadio app. Click that microphone button next to the play button and sound off. Send us a message. We'll get it on the air for you. Let it rip.
Call Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
And we'll also give you a chance to jump at it on the phone. And Justin at justinbarclay.com is the email. More breaking news out this morning. Tom Leonard, former Attorney General, former Speaker of the House here in Michigan, Republican gubernatorial candidate, getting out of the Republican primary. That race, he is stepping away. A little bit of a message he posted online. He's withdrawing. He says it wasn't an easy decision, but today we'll be withdrawing from the governor's race. He goes on to talk about the past, 10 months or so, what that race has looked like, and really the decision that he made moving forward. He thanks the folks, and particularly his family involved. I think, unfortunately, there just wasn't a path there as he's starting to see polling and maybe the fundraising numbers just not quite adding up, especially when you got a couple of big fish in that race there that have seemingly lots of money to spend. Perry Johnson with his own, and then John James, obviously not short on cash either. So that is the latest news out of Michigan and the political. How that will affect the rest of the I think that field it's only time will tell here. But moved by Tom Leonard, stand-up guy who decided here's a big voice in the fight against the data centers. Maybe he'll continue to be part of that. Maybe he'll continue to be out front talking about what the folks here in Michigan, why they're fighting against those things, and what the big issues are. All right, that out of the way. I got to give you some of the pieces of the puzzle in the next piece, and the picture we'll try and draw for you. Yesterday, Hung Cao was essentially slid in to take over as undersecretary. Navy secretary departs immediately as the undersecretary will take over. Hung Cao is a patriot. I think he ran for Senate, if I remember correctly. Secretary of the Navy John Phelan was, it sounds to me, essentially like he was fired. We're hearing various different reasons for this. Some of them are as simple as, they didn't like President Trump was apparently in a meeting with Hegseth, and they had talked about how fast they wanted these ships built, the new ships. And it wasn't coming around, and apparently they weren't seeing eye to eye on everything. That was at issue. They were at odds in some way. He was asked to step down. That's essentially what happened now. So I don't know when you say fired or not. That's a good question. But either way, they didn't see eye to eye, and that's critical. Now, I've got some inside baseball on why, again, they believe that took place. So I'll source that out and break that down in just a moment. But first, let's put a pin in it. As we have the latest piece, I believe, of fake news. Now, what just happened may prove there's something to this, or it may have just proven there was a need to get rid of this guy, and this is clearly why. Let me, if I may, walk that through with you here. There is a story floating around right now that I've got to caution you, because you're going to hear it. You're going to be probably dealing with people on social media like I am that come through in every headline They take as gospel every headline they push out saying, well, this is what's happening. Of course, this is the truth. The truth is we're dealing with so much these days. Information, data, propaganda coming at us at such a quick clip that people really don't have time to dig in and actually find out what's what on these stories. And so what do they do instead? They undertake narratives. In other words, they find a narrative they agree with and they run with it. They don't consider anything outside of that narrative. Facts don't matter because they've got their narrative. And in fact, it becomes painful. It becomes painful if, in fact, they do have to confront any other news or any other evidence that's contrary to what the evidence says. So, that being said, and why it's important, this story comes out. Clearing Strait of Hormuz may be tougher than it appears. A new report saying it could take up to 6 months to clear mines from the Strait of Hormuz. Now, I found it to be kind of curious because we haven't heard much on this particular piece. There hasn't been a lot of mine talk. There's been a little. We've heard various different thoughts from, they don't even know, Iran doesn't even know where they've placed the mines to, well, they know, but, they're not going to tell us. And, so you really don't have a clear answer on this. What I will tell you is this. When you dig into the story, which I did, you find out, and now I think it's paywalled over on the Washington Post, so you can't, this makes it even more egregious, but you can't even really dig in to get the truth on it. But when I dug in, the story essentially says this. A new report says it could take up to 6 months to clear the mines. This comes out of a meeting at the Pentagon with unnamed sources. Again, it's the same playbook every single time. Why is this being used? It's being used to push and peddle the propaganda that gas prices are going to stay higher for at least the next 6 months. And that's why some are freaking out. Now, the markets this morning, we did see oil prices move up a little bit yesterday. Markets are down today. The futures, anyway, they were up bigly yesterday. And Trump has ordered the Navy shoot to kill boats laying mines in the Hormuz Strait. So there may be some little bit of piece of truth, shred of truth somewhere in here. But again, there is one thing that we know for sure. When we deal with any stories that come out that are unnamed sources familiar with the matter, and any and all of that, it's absolute junk. None of that is real. It does not hold up. So I warn you, and I caution you again, this is going to be the next piece. This is the latest. And why is it important? Because every bit of news manufactured, every AI piece that they put together is meant to do one thing, and that is weaken the will of the American people and see if they can get Trump to move off of this. And why is that important? It's because it's not just Iran. It's China. It's the rest of the countries. These people, they all want the strait open. Iran, and now we know that some of the leadership is in disagreement with some of the IRGC leaders, which is another piece of this whole puzzle, which will end up playing out soon. But here in Michigan, we have seen gas prices go down. It's anecdotal because they go up, they go down here. We don't really know where they're headed. I will say they're cheaper right now than they were last week when I filled up. But, I probably fill up once a week. My wife, about the same, a top off the tank. And it's has it been great? No, it's tough when you get down into the twos and then psychologically you jump back into threes and at some point four. That makes you kind of freaking out a little bit. But if I give it a little bit, and this is the thing about patience, it's a fruit of the spirit, right? I get a little bit of time. I think you're going to see too that in time, eventually they will come down. But again, that's just a guess. And so's this story that's meant to sound like it's straight fact out of the Washington Post. It's just the latest that you need to be aware of. And I wanted to make sure I brought it up for you this morning because it's just all of this. We know the playbook by now. We've seen this story before. We know how it unfolds. But you got to do your digging, your due diligence. Never trust a headline. You got to actually read. They know people won't. Actually read, dig in, and look at the stories. And when you see unnamed sources, etc., that's a clear tell. Yeah, that's probably not exactly what they say it is. All right, coming up, good news out of West Michigan. We'll tell you about that on the way, plus give you a chance to weigh in, too. Jumping on the phone line in a moment as well when we come back. Right here on West Michigan Live. Don't go anywhere.
From the Midwesterner this Thursday, April 23rd, I'm Robin Hoffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Michigan Democratic Party Chair Curtis Hertel is concerned some members showed a lack of decorum and civility when they relentlessly booed pro-Israel candidates at the party's recent convention. There was also a death threat toward President Trump. A person in the audience, a Democrat delegate, dangled a Donald Trump doll in a noose during the convention. See the picture at the Midwesterner.news. The Michigan MEA union giving Governor Whitmer the Champion for Education Award despite a steep drop in student achievement during her term. And residents don't want this facility in their neighborhood, and the company Ranger Power isn't getting the message. The solar company's reps trying again to push the facility on Fayette Township residents to install an industrial solar power plant on 1,400 acres of farmland. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
This is a Money Minute.
Welcome in, folks, to Behind the Scenes live stream. Big fireside chat last night. We had a blast. Thank you to the folks on Locals, the VIP watching in with us today. Gritter, Mando, Hemi, good to see you. Patriot, Dean. Dina, good to see you, too. We stayed up a little late last night, maybe a little past our bedtime. Panda, good to see you, too. Thank you, folks, for hanging out. We had great conversations, especially in one that we'll probably get into a little bit more in the after show is this whole UFO scientist thing, which is wild. We have new developments there, too. So we'll talk about that. Michigan Joe, good to see you, too. Rumblers, History Diggers, such a time as this. Good to see you. Tennesil, L. Waldron, IPV. Thank you so much. Gas had been like $3.74 yesterday morning. All stations went up to $3.99 this morning. Okay, interesting. Yeah, we're getting close. It's the weekend. It's Thursday. This is this weird West Michigan cycle, but they always do it. It is what it is. Hemi, prayer request. My 85-year-old mom will be having quadruple bypass surgery tomorrow at the Meyer Heart Center. She just turned 85. Folks, we are going to be praying for Hemi's mom. Hemi, if you want to tell us her name, you can. If not, that's fine too. but we will certainly pray for her. Bunny over on the Facebook, the Bookers. Suzanne, good to see you. Sherry, Deanne, Dawn, Joanne, Bonnie, Mary, Jessica. Thank you so much, Chuck. Good to see you, Sean, Marilyn, and so many others. Click share today if you haven't done it already. Sharing is caring. Somebody's going to get loaded up with some goodies from inside the Justin store. Each and every day we do this. If you share, you help us break the algorithm. We get the news out. Cut through the noise. Get the truth, logic, and common sense to folks who need to hear it so desperately. T-shirts, hoodies, mugs. We got something for everybody inside the store. You certainly go over there, buy one, support us now. You can help out the show, but I'd love to give you one too. So click share on the program. Help us get the word out. And away we go. Absolutely. Fantastic fireside chat. It's still up for now. They'll all come down soon. But the fireside chat was another good one last night. We'll be doing those monthly. Hemi's mom, her name is Dee, for folks that want to join us in prayer. Father, we just thank you for looking over her. We thank you for guiding the skillful hands of the surgeons tomorrow. We thank you that by your stripes we are healed. And thank you for the peace beyond understanding for Dee and her entire family, Hemi and the others, as they feel your presence walking through this with them in Jesus' name. Amen. Back after this here, folks.
Iranian ports is just suffocating Iran's economy. The U.S. says they've now turned away more than 30 ships. The president says that blockade is actually more effective than bombing, costing Tehran $500 million every single day.
And the administration is keeping up the pressure despite extending the Iran ceasefire. The president giving an update on the situation in the Strait moments ago, as the White House says it is giving the diminished regime time to gather itself.
President Trump announced an extension of the ceasefire. He's maintaining and generously offering a bit of flexibility to a regime who has been completely tarnished because of Operation Epic Fury. There's obviously a lot of internal division. This is a battle between the pragmatists and the hardliners in Iran right now. Ultimately, the timeline will be dictated by the commander-in-chief and the president of the United States.
You're watching this as the president is given the go-ahead to lock and load on those folks that are laying mines. Go ahead and engage in the Strait of Hormuz if they are in fact caught doing those things. We'll make sure we give you the updates on that. We've got good news. When was the last time prices went down for anything, or just didn't go up? Let's be real. You know, like anything these days, it's a constant steady stream. You're watching things go through the roof. Bidenflation kicked that all off. And gosh, we've really seen inflation through the years for incredible things. One West Michigan university says, not on our watch. We'll fill you in the good news from our backyard after this.
West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
To your family.
All right, folks. What does Schedule 3 mean? Okay. Awesome. Thank you. All right. We just got some breaking news, by the way, folks. Where's Jason at this morning? Like I said, it's one of these days. Breaking news. I saw this. I think this is what he is referring to. Now, this happened back in December, but according to this, President Trump's acting Attorney General Todd Blanche has just reclassified state-licensed medical marijuana as a less dangerous drug. The order does not legalize it federally, but it shifts it from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 and also eases some research barriers on cannabis. This comes after Trump recently, December 2025, began the process via executive order. Marijuana can be legitimate in terms of medical applications when carefully administered, he said. Prescription painkillers have legitimate uses, but also can do damage. I promise to be the president of common sense. That's what I am doing, according to that EO from 2025.
Marijuana can be legitimate in terms of medical applications when carefully administered. In some cases, this may include the use as a substitute for addictive and potentially lethal opioid painkillers, and they cause tremendous problems. This can do it in a much lesser way, can make people feel much better that are living through tremendous pain and problems. 40 states and multiple U.S. territories have already recognized the use of medical marijuana. This reclassification order will make it far easier to conduct marijuana-related medical research, allowing us to study benefits, potential dangers, and future treatments. It's going to have a tremendously positive impact, I believe. We're also asking Congress to reconsider its classification of hemp-derived CBD to ensure seniors can access CBD products they have found beneficial for pain and other reasons. Some people are literally dying, and they're dying with tremendous pain, and this can, in many cases, literally stop it.
I do think this is common sense. Look, it's just like the psychedelic thing that came out the other day. And look, you're not going to see me run around taking psychedelics, dropping mushrooms or whatever it is that they ibogaine, whatever. But I don't have a need for it. If I did, though, or someone that I love, wouldn't I want them to be able to get treatment or use those substances to help them have some sort of relief? I would say, and what would you say? All in, 100%, if I thought it could help them. Anyway, that's the latest, and I think, again, very good news as folks look at the president of common sense making another big announcement. No acid for me, Randy. No, not today. Guys, I can barely handle reality as it is. I mean, it really doesn't need to get any more trippy than this. Like the things that we're watching that I see on a daily basis. No. I'll tell you, the only thing I need, sunshine, be out in nature, a little fresh air. And, you caught me last night with a fireside chat. Maybe a nice stick, and I'm good. And that doesn't even, I don't think, really, there's no, like, effect on me, I don't think. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't really drink either. I in my older years, I found it more beneficial to keep a sober mind. So, stand by, folks. Hang on one second. If you haven't shared the show just yet, make sure you do that. Got all kinds of cool stuff inside the store. JustinBarclay.com/store. Gear, goodies, and more. T-shirts, hoodies, mugs. If you haven't already clicked and shared the store just yet, please do so. It helps us break the algorithm. And somebody that shares will get something great from the store. Stand by. Back on in just moments.
Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
Well, we get some good news. This some news that came out yesterday, right out of our own backyard. Like I say, when was the last time you saw, we're not going to raise the price on this. Prices aren't going to go up. How about this? I think they did this last year, if I recall correctly. If that's the case, they've done it again. Cornerstone University, a gem in our crown here in West Michigan, Christian University, and one of the best across the, in fact, some may say even the best across the nation, right here in our own backyard, announcing a tuition freeze for 2026 and 2027. They've been on the cutting edge, not just with obviously campaigns like this, but with other major tech announcements and more. Joining us now, the president of Cornerstone University, Dr. Jerson Moreno-Riaño. Thank you so much for being here with us today, sir. And what a fantastic piece of news again, yet right here in our own backyard.
Thank you, Justin, for having me on. It's really an amazing thing that we're able to do. We started doing it back in 2023, 2024. And the reason is because we reject the false choice between academic excellence and accessibility. There's a lot of conversations that, high quality means high price. And we've chosen to offer high quality and stay true to our Christian mission, but rethink how we do our work, our business, and deliver a great education to our students at a fantastic price, quite frankly, almost less than half of the national average for tuition across the country. So it's I think the great news for Michigan, great news for our students in West Michigan and Michigan across the nation.
Yeah, it is. It is big, and I think particularly as you make the point here, everything has gone through the roof of cost of nearly everything, and education obviously right there with everything else. It probably even further past, but when I look at these stories, I think to myself, like yours, it doesn't have to be that way. So what are you doing that allows you to actually, put maybe a pin in this and say, no, we're going to do something differently?
Yeah, we have since 2023, we really have begun to rethink how we operate the institution and rethinking our business model. I think it's one of the things that we have to do, right? And not just continue to pass the cost to the student, which is, I think, the sort of the standard practice in higher education. And especially for a private university like our own, it's just important that we're innovative, we're creative, we rethink how we do our work, how we do our business, how we deliver the learning experience to our students. And in so doing, do it more effectively, be better stewards of resources, and find better ways to do our work at more productive and less cost. And that's really what we've done over the last 3 years. It's a lot of hard work, Justin, I will tell you. It's not easy. It's hard work. But the entire team at the university has really sort of put their heads together to do this, and we continue to find new ways for next year and the year after. That then allows us to then keep a price point that we're not raising, right? Offer great financial aid packages for all of our students, which is a wonderful incentive for them, and offer great quality. And again, it's hard to do, but that's sort of what we've done at a very high level. And we see it that it's working, it's attracting students, and it's jarring our market. And we want to continue to be the leading edge on that.
As a Christian organization, and obviously, I have to ask you because these are stories that are coming across our desk on a daily basis, and I know you guys are celebrating on the 250th the anniversary of the founding of this nation. But we just had a big story come out of Texas the other day that certainly has, I think, a lot to do with education. Now, this is Texas and state education there, but boy, it just, to me, when I saw it, I thought, this is common sense, because it's historical in a lot of ways. But this notion that they're going to make sure that the 10 Commandments are posted in public schools, there was a big lawsuit on this. They won. Texas Appeals Court upheld that they can place those 10 Commandments and ask that they be done in the schools. And I thought, for sure, we touched a little bit about this, but you'd have some comment on that. Why it's so important, especially in the foundation of a great education.
Yeah, because simply, the founders of our country were brilliant men, and they knew that freedom in a republic has to have a true right moral compass. That you cannot have freedom and liberty without virtue and morality. And even as George Washington spoke in his farewell address, you can't have it without religion, without God. It's impossible. You have to have them both. The tendency for us as human beings, Justin, is we want freedom, but we forget about morality too often, right? We forget about it, or we turn our side, or we create our own. The beauty of having the 10 Commandments in Texas is that it reminds every student of an external, objective, beautiful truth and reality, morality, to not just hold us accountable, but to allow us to flourish. Look, it's good to not lie, right? It's good to not commit murder. It's good to not commit adultery. It's good to honor God and be people of great faith toward God and his son Jesus. It's good to not bear false witness. I mean, these are not radical ideas, Justin. These are things that human beings across time, across history, across cultures have known to be true. And now the state of Texas is saying, hey, we're going to put them in there. We want all of our kids to see it. And I think it's a great move. And I think everyone should be doing that. And I realize it's going to cost a lot of poking and angry conversations, but we need to get back to the foundational Christian principles on which this country was founded. And quite frankly, the Christian principles that are inherent in reality and in human life. So that's my thoughts, Justin, on that.
Yeah, it is a big story, and I'm sure one that will continue to follow. But you know, make sure that when the students come to Cornerstone University, they're going to get that foundation. Unlike you know, a lot of other places, we know that parents have choices, but as a parent and two very young children, I guess you know I have to start thinking about these things. Certainly, as you're looking at funding them, but also where you might consider when those kids do decide they're gonna go off, and maybe they don't have to go too far off. In fact, maybe they could go right in your own backyard, and they don't have to really go off the reservation as it is when it comes to sometimes. You know, Doctor, I know you know this, but parents worry when they're sending kids off to college, they're going to lose their kids. That is not something that's uncommon these days.
It's not. And look, Justin, I get worried when my kids leave the house just to go down the street, right? I mean, but you go to college and you go to. I mean, I know of universities in this country that on the first day of classes in the fall, when they welcome the new students, will tell them everything you've learned. We're going to unteach you, right? What you've learned in your home and your parents, we're going to unteach that and re-educate you. That's the attitude of some educators in our universities today, right? And sometimes it's the same at Christian universities. And I call those Christian universities small C Christian universities, right? Mm-hmm. Because they in essence have this mentality, a very elitist one, that, you know, truth, beauty, and goodness is sort of up for grabs, and we alone have it and we alone know it, and we're going to re-educate you. That's a very foolish idea, a very arrogant idea, and it's hurting, not just hurting, it's really, really killing our country and our young people. Yeah. I'm grateful that I'm serving here at Cornerstone. I'm grateful for our Christian mission, our commitment to Jesus and the gospel and what is beautiful, true, and good, and our commitment to do with excellence and sophistication, because our culture and our market need that. Now, I will tell you, Justin, I had a conversation last week with our future student body president and vice president here at Cornerstone. And one of the beautiful things these young leaders, student leaders, said to me is they love Cornerstone, and they want to ensure that the spiritual community and emphasis is stronger than ever, and they're committing themselves to do that and to help our student body in those areas. I mean, that's music to my ears. Yeah. I'm going to have to push that. I've got student leaders who are saying, this is why we're here. The great Christian foundation, the great Christian academics, the great Christian community, mm-hmm. and we want it to be stronger than ever for students. So I will tell any parent out there listening, come visit us at Cornerstone, send your students to Cornerstone. We have fantastic pricing, Justin, as you know, great quality, a beautiful campus, and we commit ourselves to being faithful to Christ and to help your families and bless your families.
Yeah, and that big tuition freeze again for the 2026-2027 years. That's big news right out of our own backyard, and you don't see really any other major institutions doing that. Fantastic news. Thank you, Doctor. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, Justin. Have a great rest of the day.
You too. God bless. Dr. Gerson Moreno-Riaño, Cornerstone University president, with us this morning. More good news coming up. In fact, call or two, maybe we'll squeeze in. I got a question or two, try to answer for you coming up. And good news, you know, we never have enough time during the after show to get to where we want to go, right? Or the fastest hour on radio. That's why we created the after show. So we got one of those fired up for you, ready to go for today. Some topics that came up in yesterday's fireside chat last night that we maybe dipping our toes in today at your request, all coming up. As we take a look at the markets this morning, we got a little bit of a pullback. Stocks falling a bit. S&P 500 and the NASDAQ pulling back from the all-time highs. And yesterday, massive news. But we're only down about 160 on the Dow, NASDAQ down about 50, S&P down about 5. Not too shabby, but again, it's just like every other day in the conversation that we have. The market feels like a roller coaster ride. It's constantly up and down, and it can move at a whim. You never know. The latest truth post or tweet, from the president or anything else could send folks feeling like they're going on another bumpy road on that roller coaster ride. But you don't have to feel that way. Mike Lester and the team at Talent Wealth, guardingyournestegg.com, want to make sure that you feel good about where you're going because you're going to get there when you need to. They take a holistic approach to everything, whether you want to retire today, tomorrow, or 10, 20 years down the road. Whatever your plan is, they'll walk with you through it. Can't say enough about that, to know that you can sleep well at night because you've done all that you can. Guardingyournestegg.com. Call today at 616-661-1000. That's 616-661-1000. Find out how they can help you, but do it today before it's too late. You never know what those markets are going to do.
Informative, engaging. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Thursday, April 23rd. I'm Robin Kaufman. Incredibly, a Michigan union giving Democrat Governor Whitmer the Champion for Education Award, despite a steep drop in student achievement during her term. Third grade reading proficiency sliding from close to 45% down to 38.9%. Michigan Democratic Party Chair Curtis Hertel is concerned some members showed a lack of decorum and civility when they relentlessly booed pro-Israel candidates at the party's recent convention. There was also a death threat toward President Trump. A person in the audience, a Democrat delegate, dangled a Donald Trump doll in a noose during the convention. You can see the picture at themidwesterner.news. And the company Ranger Power trying again to push a project on Fayette Township residents to install an industrial solar power plant on 1,400 acres of farmland east of Jonesville. For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
That red talkback mic on the free iHeart app could win you something amazing.
The iHeart Awards in LA.
Plus, it's the fastest way to get your voice on your favorite station.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
I love you guys. Have a good day.
Try the talkback mic now. Just open the free iHeart Radio app.
If you're looking...
All right. Full speed ahead. Got an interesting question off of the phone line. They couldn't stay. They couldn't wait and hold with us. But it's about the military in Iran. So let's get to that. We will. Coming up in just moments. Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. All right. Got about 2 minutes tops left. If you haven't already shared yet today, go ahead and do that. Help us get the word out. Share, whether you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals, YouTube. And we'd love to give you something from inside the Justin store. JustinBarclay.com/store. Hey, speaking of stores, you can help support this show in more ways than one. I saw Jason posting and said, question whether the price of coffee is going to go through the roof in the coming days. Stock up now is what he's suggesting. I suggest up with My Coffee, get 50% off now. And maybe Mike won't raise those rates through the roof like everybody else if you like. Yeah, mypillow.com/Justin, mystore.com/Justin. Plus, you get all kinds of great stuff. Sheets or towels or mattresses or the mattress pads. You can get it all. Support Mike in his fight. He's running governor there in Minnesota. And support this program at the same time, all while you're at it. Get great night rest with the folks from My Pillow, mypillow.com/Justin. Use promo code Justin. They're when you get a chance. Love it. Love it. All right, folks, back on the air here momentarily. Stand by for the latest 30, 45 seconds. And we're back after it. I can't say enough for the fireside chats last night. We had a wonderful time, man. We had a blast. It was beautiful weather. It was absolutely perfect. And I got a chance to sit out there and kind of watch the sun come down. Had my hoodie on because it got a little cool. We got to see the moon come out. That was neat. And we survived the threat of any bears that were roaming the neighborhood. That was a whole nother thing. They found a bear in my neck of the woods, apparently on camera. Black bear out there roaming around, caught on camera. The woman got it on camera eating from her bird feeder. Fantastic. All right, back on the air, folks. Stand by.
At the same time, the facts compel the federal government to recognize that marijuana can be legitimate in terms of medical applications when carefully administered. In some cases, this may include the use as a substitute for addictive and potentially lethal opioid painkillers. And they cause tremendous problems. This can do it in a much lesser way, can make people feel much better that are living through tremendous pain and problems.
Big pharma probably not necessarily getty today, but some dealing with issues that they've been dealing with for a while now. Probably excited to hear that Acting Attorney General Todd Blanchard, under the direction of the President of the United States, President Trump there, ordering the Department of Justice to deliver on that promise he made back in 2025 December, where he issued that executive order. They've immediately rescheduled the FDA-approved marijuana and state-licensed marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, ordered a new expedited hearing with set deadlines to fully reschedule marijuana. So, look, it's not like we had, psychedelics the other day, we have marijuana today. It's not like, I'm going to run out and be using any of this stuff, but we're talking about uses for things that are pretty compelling for people who really need it in a situation. And if you've got a family member, maybe you're going through something where you need that, boy, oh boy, aren't you glad that it's there?
40 states and multiple U.S. territories have already recognized the use of medical marijuana. This reclassification order will make it far easier to conduct marijuana-related medical research, allowing us to study benefits, potential dangers, and future
Adam in the booth
treatments. It's going to have a tremendously positive impact, I believe.
It's like he's already celebrating.
We're also
in the booth. I don't know. All right. It is good news. And again, it's common sense. The president said he was going to be a common sense president on some of these approaches. And there you have it. So you don't have to run out and get get high. I don't really have any use for that. But I will tell you, I am glad that it's there for people. And you should even see the comments in the chats of people who said, I need this type of thing to get by with the pain of the things I'm dealing with on a daily basis. So again, glad that it's there for folks when they need it and who need it most. Okay, we had a question off the line. I'm going to see if I can get to this before we get into the after show. Somebody didn't have a chance to stay on the line. Okay, so the question was, if we have decimated the Iranian military so bad, how can they close the strait? Well, they don't close the strait. The strait is open or close. And this is a good question, by the way. It's open or close essentially by the willingness of these ships and then the insurance companies that insures them to actually move through the strait. It's not like they've got a gate or anything up like that. The military, and both things could be true, by the way, at the same time, that ships are choosing not to pass through at the same time that the military has been decimated. In fact, what you're watching now, the last gasp of this dying regime, in fact, are the IRGC decentralized warlords. Think of it as warlords or terrorist organizations, and lightly at this point linked, that are deciding to go out and take matters into their own hands in the strait. On one hand, if you're going to believe everything that we're hearing, You've got leadership, political leadership in Iran that wants to make a deal. And then you've got these folks that are more likely terrorist sort of pockets of folks that can do lots of damage in very easy ways. It's through mines or pirate activities attacking these ships that are coming through, et cetera. But you're also seeing the United States come through, interdict, and that just certainly means that they'll get in and stop Iranian ships from coming or going into ports so that they can shut down their economy and more. So that's a good question. Both can be true at the same time. And, it's worth noting, especially when we're in the middle of some of the craziness that we're in the middle of right now. SeniorSmoothMove.com. Our good friend Kevin Yoder, by the way, putting this together. Kevin is the go-to when it comes to real estate. You want to buy or sell a home in the West Michigan area. Kevin Yoder does the work, and he does it so well. Kevin, a good friend of mine, and I'm telling you right now, well, anybody going through this, and I've seen this in my own, it can be a really emotional and kind of a tough time. This really can be. It can be a really tough time, in fact, where you're trying to figure out where the folks are going to go or what they're going to do. They want to downsize and the best move to make. Why? Because you got for a lot of folks, the biggest investment they have is their home. And how do you make sure you get top dollar and you walk through that process with peace of mind? Kevin's here to help with the Yoder Real Estate team brokered by LPT Realty. He's got that Smooth Move system, a complete solution that takes the pressure off you and your shoulders, your family, and they'll handle everything. Schedule a free in-home consultation. Find out more at seniorsmoothmove.com. That's seniorsmoothmove.com or call 616-303-5671. All right, the after show fired up and ready to go, folks. We're back at it tomorrow. The Glenn Beck program is coming up next. You can listen live to the after show or archived on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you download podcasts. Make it a great day. We appreciate you. God bless.
Heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. God is the kingdom, our glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
WOOT Grand Rapids, WOOT FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
An iHeart radio station.
Guaranteed human.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menard.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the support today. Got to click a few buttons. Thank you for those shares. Those are coming through well. Lots of you have already shared today. That helps us break the algorithm. We'll get you in the running for the T-shirt or the hoodie or the mug, whatever you choose. Talk about that in just a second. Stand by. We'll lock and load and fire away for the after show. Here we go.
Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay.
To the after show, the show after the show. That's why we call it the after show. Imagine that. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, people said, we need more. Give us more. So we decided we're going to do what the people want to give them what they want, what they demanded, what they asked for. And that's more. Some of you even say, I've had enough of you. I've had enough of you. I'm done. I'm over it. And to you, I say good riddance. No, I'm just kidding. Blessings. Peace be upon you. Go in peace. But definitely go. Hey, you don't have to go home, but you do have to get out of here, I guess. Well, you could stay around and troll if you want. Just troll politely. Everyone's welcome here. But in the meantime, for those that do want more, even still yet today, here we go. We got it for you more. And at the top of the show, it's a little bit more on what we talked about yesterday, the coming lockdowns 2.0, it looks like, in Europe. And I'm starting to see some headlines. I don't think we're going to see this here because I don't think Trump's going to suffer this sort of foolishness. But it does look like the European Union, some of the minions involved, the World Economic Forum, and some of those people, I told you, they're still out there. They're hibernating. they are still out there sort of, they're hiding in the shadows. So, that being said, what does that look like? What do you need to make sure you know so you can stay ahead of the curve on all of this stuff? I will fill you in on the latest in just moments. They're going to try and pull this off again, folks. It's going to be just like COVID 2.0. They're going to try it again. We're not going to let it happen on our watch. First, thanks to the folks helping power the show today. Healthwithjustin.com, my pure health solutions. Missy and the team, Missy, going to walk with you through how to get healthy from the inside out. It's an inside job, folks. I mean, that's the case. Making America healthy again starts with you, starts with me. I'm already down over 30 pounds. My wife down 30 pounds. Feeling better than ever in this latest phase of the Maha mission, trying to make myself healthier. You know what? Because I got a mission. I got to fight. I got to call. I got to pray. Just like you. You got to be the healthiest you can be for your kids, your grandkids, and for your calling. Whatever it is that you're called to do. There's a reason. You're breathing. There's a reason. Call Missy and the team today at 269-964-4044. Mention my name. Folks inside the Freedom Fam, use that code Justin. Get 20% off. If you want to go to healthwithjustin.com, you can see the numbers, the conversations Missy and I have had through the years. And then check out these awesome before and after photos of the people that have had great results, getting off medications, dropping weight, getting all kinds of healthy, more energy, sleeping better at night, not having to deal with joint pain anymore. Their inflammation is just cut in half. You're going to love it. The results are incredible. They speak for themselves. Healthwithjustin.com. Find out more when you go to healthwithjustin.com. Like I said, it seems as though they're going to try this again, folks. I'm watching it in Europe real time. It is. It really is. And it's sad to see it, but it looks like they want to pull another one of these lockdowns. So whether it's the wars, the rumors of wars, right? What we're watching in the Strait could be some disruptions here and there in how you get what you need. Or it could just be good old-fashioned lockdowns 2.0 that they try to bring back. Never get caught flat-footed. Preparewithjustin.com, the folks at My Patriot Supply, whether it's the generators, the electric, solar generators, the survival food, any of the gear that you need to keep you and your family, safe through it all. My recommendation, preparewithjustin.com. Go check them out today. Do a little due diligence. And, of course, make sure that you are set up for success no matter what we face in the days ahead. We pray like it all depends on God. We prepare like it all depends on us. And, when we partner with them, the good things, they just seem to work out right, don't they? So that's my suggestion today is do what the Lord, ask him what you should be doing and do what he sort of prompts you to do. That's the key. But don't wait. Take action now. This story again, this is going to be, it'll be coming up on the radar for folks. I haven't really heard many other people talk about this yet. Lockdowns 2.0. Let me show you the latest. And this is going to sound for you, I'm assuming, just as incredible as it sounded to me when I read this. The Sun out of the UK has this story. And I did some digging. I said, this sounds like straight up shenanigans again. Bullshitaki mushrooms. And I don't know about you, but I can spot it a mile away now with everything we've gone through. They're saying they may have to ration mobile data on cell phones because of soaring energy costs. And again, we heard yesterday about a possible lockdown 2.0. I saw this story and I just thought to myself, I just can't, this doesn't make sense at all. How do you make this square up? For the lack of, I cannot put the brain together. Well, this is how they describe it. And again, I think they're going to have a hard time pulling this off. But, you know, in Europe, people, they've seemed to have lost... Well, they lost their complete marbles altogether. They kind of lost their brains on a lot of this stuff. I don't know how far they'll get. I don't know how they'll actually manage to get through this, but this is what they say. Your phone needs power, not to charge itself necessarily, although it does, but it needs power from the tower. Not just the battery itself. These cell towers, base stations, think of them, are all around these European countries, particularly the UK. Towers are like big antennas that send and receive signals so that you can text, call, scroll, or watch videos, or even like watch me here. Listen to this show. Those towers and the big computers they call data centers, they help run the whole phone system, use a lot of electricity. The data center thing, I think that piece is going to be the biggest. They have to stay on 24/7. So even when you're sleeping, 5G, particularly, lots of people using data make them use even more power altogether. So like how a video game, or it's a little bigger, it takes a little more juice if you're playing that sort of thing. Phone companies pay huge electricity bills to keep everything running. So where does most of that electricity come from? Turns out in the UK right now, a big chunk of electricity still comes from burning natural gas in power plants. You know, on many days, gas makes about 30 to 35% of the country's electricity. Wind, solar, nuclear, unicorn farts, make a lot too. And, you know, the answer really probably is nuclear, modular nuclear, as we continue to move through the coming years. But are they going to be able to build it fast enough? And will they get the consensus and the approval from the people? That's in America. UK, I don't know. Will they be able to build it fast enough? Wind, solar, nuclear make a lot too, sometimes over half. But gas is often the backup that gets turned on when there's extra demand, or when the wind isn't blowing. Again, these are all the people that put us in the position, you know, the tree-hugging liberal Bill Gates want to take over the world kind of folks, World Economic Forum. They knew this type of thing was coming, and this is why they tried to pull this off, by the way. They wanted complete control over you and what you do, and this is another great example of it. The magic and annoying rule here, the price of electricity follows the price of gas. Here's the tricky part that feels like a stretch, but isn't. Power companies sell electricity on a big market. They use the cheapest source first, like wind, when it's blowing. But the final piece everyone pays is set by the most expensive source they need right now, which is often the gas power plant. So it's like a line of kids buying ice cream. The price is whatever the last kid in line has to pay. If gas is expensive that day, the whole price goes up, even for electricity made by wind. So when gas gets more expensive, electricity bills for everyone, including phone companies, go up and buy a lot. Now, here's where the connection comes into Iran. Because I wondered, how are they going to tie this in? And that's what they're trying to do. What's causing the energy crisis? They'll say it's Iran, but the truth is it's because they have decimated their infrastructure through the years because of the wind, solar, and unicorn farts push. They just don't have the juice they need. So how does all of this tie in, particularly with the Strait of Hormuz? How does Iran, so far away from the UK, make the connection? Well, the strait is a narrow sea path in the Middle East. Huge ships carry oil and natural gas called LNG through that strait, about 20% of the world's supply. The war with Iran put a monkey wrench, obviously, in the shipping. And we heard Nobody in NATO, particularly UK, wanted to even help clear the strait. So we've had weeks of this now. Conversations that say, we're not going to do it, we won't do it, we won't do it. And now they're suffering. Less gas and oil could get to markets around the world. And that made the price of gas shoot up now because it's speculation. So the speculation on what's happening, driving the price up, including on what UK buys. So you got higher gas prices, higher electricity prices, phone company bills. And I'm not talking about the bill you get from the phone company, but their bills to actually run the towers get higher. And again, this is all in the UK. I doubt we'll see this happen here. But it just shows you the blueprint they've got from COVID. This is lockdowns 2.0 they're attempting in the UK. And we talked about yesterday how they may say, you know what? Energy's too expensive right now. You can't get in your car and go here. You can't get in your car and go there. And now they're going to shut off the phones, or at least possibly. Here's why phone companies are worried. They say our bills went up 33% because of this. The government gave cheap electricity help to factories in the UK, but not to the phone companies. So they can't turn off, which is absolutely insane to me because it is infrastructure and it's, I would say, a national security issue. But somehow they haven't made that connection. So it tells me, what are they doing behind the scenes? I think there's a little bit more. I'll talk about that here in a second. So they can't turn off the towers with those phone companies. They need those phones for emergencies and everything else. And, you know, everything's wired now. So they might have to, or wireless now. So they might have to save money by slowing down your data, throttling it, charging extra during busy times, surge pricing, or limiting how much data those folks in the UK can get. I think some of these things are true, but as they've said, and this is the thing that I the piece that I see being the biggest here is, you know, we've got Rahm Emanuel who's famously said, never let a good crisis go to waste. I think what you're watching right now is the beginning of the beginning, or the end in this case, where these European countries and the people that live there are going to be brought into the net and the noose is going to be tightened slowly over time. I think they're starting with this idea that they might have to throttle your data. Even they're already telling people what they can and can't say there. In fact, they're already telling people, hey, we'll arrest you. And they're doing it, arresting people for some of the things that they're saying. Free speech violations out the wahoo. The Sun article says millions of mobile phone users face being plunged into a digital dark age with rationed data and surge pricing at peak times. Some of Britain's biggest networks have warned they may be forced to throttle speeds, hike costs after being frozen out of a massive government energy relief scheme. So they didn't get the money from the government to do what they wanted to do. So now they're going to make people feel the pain. I think it's contrived. This, to me, feels like some of the beginning of, well, we're going to make the people feel the pain because we can. They're saying cost of jet fuel go up. They're saying that people may not be able to travel across Europe. European officials warning that summer holidays, their vacations, right, are under threat as the war involving Iran drives up jet fuel prices and puts pressure on airline suppliers. Here's what this accomplishes. It points the finger at America, largely Trump, makes him the boogeyman and the enemy because they've got a crisis. They're never going to let it go to waste. And at the same time, they are going to be able, I'm not saying these things aren't issues, but are they exaggerated? At the same time, they're going to be able to put in place some of the things that they've wanted to put in place for a long time. The noose is being tightened as we speak on those folks in Europe. I've never been. I'd like to go to see it at some point, but like I said, I've never been. It may be too late. Jessica in the chat, energy crisis is being manufactured across the world. I get that feeling too. I see these stories and I wonder the same thing. It sure feels like it. Matt says it's going to cause more airline cancellations. I think that's part of the point. I think that's what they want. I think they want people in these countries locked into their box, locked into their cage. All these wind turbines, solar, but our rates keep going up and the service is even worse. Yeah, that's even here in Michigan, where the boondoggle has been alive and well for years now. Do you remember a few years back when Governor Whitmer, this is like 2018, it was before COVID, Governor Whitmer, we had this, I think it was at a DTE plant or a consumer's plant, and it was a natural gas plant, and something blew up. They had a fire. And Whitmer came out and said, everybody's going to turn the thermostats down during the middle of a cold snap. And everybody's turning their thermostats down to 50. Otherwise, the whole grid may go down. You remember that? That was the test run on all of this. I'm convinced. Because these people have wanted to push these policies, people she's connected with for a long time now. Anyway, I find it very fascinating. Wait for governments to just shut off the internet to all of us. Just flip the switch. We're screwed. Terry, it's sort of decentralized. There might be a way to do that in some ways, but it is sort of decentralized. I don't know if one government could do it. Certainly with the bug hacking, there are possibilities. But yeah, I think we're closer to that becoming a reality. NATO is useless. Yeah, I agree. There's so much of this. And again, I pieces of this, I just wanted to make sure that you heard. And the story, again, I want to make sure was covered because it's not getting a lot of coverage anywhere else for that matter. We talked a little bit about this last night, so I thought it was worth bringing up today. The DOJ has abruptly rescinded subpoenas it had just issued in the John Brennan inquiry. Now, this is, I think you're going to find, and what I find kind of interesting about it is we see Joe DeGenova getting in and coming back. The guy's like 80 years old. You know, he's somebody who helped take down some big mob prosecutions in New York City, et cetera. This guy has a track record. He's coming in, it looks like, to work with the grand conspiracy case down in Florida. Now, Brennan and a few others were subpoenaed. DeGenova comes in and says, we're gonna do this. Why? There's more to the story behind the scenes. I'm not going to dive deep into it right now. But what I will tell you is apparently the person who was in charge that he's replaced wasn't really a fan of Trump and apparently may have been setting something up here, I think, to have a fail. He's going a different route. And this, again, like I said, happened sort of out of the blue yesterday. Keep an eye. I saw a video the other day of Brennan who was, I think the guy was on the brink of tears on CNBC or MSDNC 13. Yes, he looked dismayed and disappointed. At least he said so by the investigation into the Russian collusion hoax, folks. In fact, check this out. There's the video. Actually, you know what? Let's watch it. Let's watch the video. Here's Brennan.
It just shows that over the past 10 years, there's been, failure after failure to try to identify something that, wrongdoing in this case. But, part of this is to harass to try to hurt individuals reputationally, professionally, financially, trying to keep the story alive as a way to deflect from other issues and challenges that they face. So again, I'm not surprised by this.
I gotta pause you, James. I understand frustration, but I think it may come. James says Trump's DOJ is increasingly more frustrating every day. I think some of the frustration may come because you're not up to speed on everything that's happening. I'm not frustrated by the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center case. This thing we talked about it last night. This thing cracks the NGO thing, the scheme, wide open. I think we're going to find out people, not just organizations that were taking money, but I think you're going to find out conservative influencers. Matt Walsh posted this the other day. He said, you're going to find a lot of the conservative influencers. There's some folks that you thought were on the up and up that are getting money from organizations like the Southern Poverty Law Center, who pushed the Charlottesville very fine people hoax. It's a very fine hoax is apparently what it is. And they were working behind the scenes with all of these people. This stuff is starting to come out in a big way. So I understand the frustration, but I also want to give you this. It's just like a big sort of, hey, keep your powder dry. They're doing some things behind the scenes, particularly what's happening down in Florida. That Southern Poverty Law case is going to be heard in Alabama. You're going to see convictions out of the 11 indictments there. Then the grand conspiracy case is coming together down in Florida. And I don't know what's going to happen, but yesterday at the fireside chat last night, we did walk through it. I just laid it out. And I know there are going to be some people that think I'm crazy. There are people that think I disagree altogether. The trolls will hate this. But what is wild to me, and this is something that I think we still have some time to kind of see how all of this plays out. But what is wild to me is it's possible, and I think this is something that we have to consider. It's possible that the Iran thing gets straightened out, that gas prices plummet, and they do go down like, exponentially after it gets all settled, that affordability gets fixed, and we start seeing arrests. It's possible. It's possible that these things actually do happen. And I'm telling you, if that does, and they do by the midterms, I think by November, essentially, I think you're going to see some incredible things happen. It's possible. It's possible it doesn't, but I think the possibility is greater than 50% that all those things happen. Everybody wants to count Trump out. When has that been right yet? I totally get it, James. He said, my frustration is coming from the lack of arrests and jailed deep state operatives. But this is what I said last night, and I'll say it again. We couldn't even get Don Lemon arrested and charged, and they had video evidence of him doing what he was doing, breaking the law. They couldn't even get that. A judge that didn't want to let that. So in order for these things to happen, all the I's have to be dotted, the T's have to be crossed. We have to proceed with caution and do it the right way. Otherwise, it will fail. I mean, think about what we're in the middle of doing right now. We're taking down something. The president's attempting to take down something and transform something that's been decades in the making. Again, Brennan, to me, looks tired. He knows what's coming.
Very dismayed and disappointed by it. I'm also very troubled that we have people in government who seem to be so mean-spirited that they try to actually to hurt individuals, hurt people, their families, and others.
Yeah, like this guy's innocent, mean-spirited. Bro, have you seen half of your appearances on television talking about Trump? These people try to go after Trump and his family. They wanted the guy arrested. They wanted him offed. And we're supposed to feel sorry for them?
And they claim to be part of the Republican Party. This is not the Republican Party that I work with or that you worked with. There are people of integrity who never would have thought the Department of Justice would have fallen as far as it has. And so again, every day when I wake up, there's something new.
Lineup. You got this CIA goon Brennan here. Coming up on MS Snow, Senator Alyssa Slotkin. You can't make this stuff up. It's hilarious. Just hilarious. Absolutely priceless. Speaking of priceless or prices, what happens? Is it possible gas is coming down? The Secretary of Treasury said it in a hearing the other day. What he said about where gas prices are going once this whole thing gets wrapped up.
Known in the energy business is very steep backwardation, which means that the future prices are much lower than we are at present. I think the conflict will end. I think gasoline prices will come back to where they were or perhaps lower. As they did, President Trump has shown that he is good at getting energy prices down, and that our energy dominance agenda has the lowered prices. No.
Can you imagine when the gas prices plummet what some of those Chicken Little Black Pill sky is falling folks are going to say, what they're going to do? And what about Tucker, who's essentially out here saying that, he I guess he feels bad about supporting Trump, and at the same time he feels like, he's just distraught about it. Unbelievable. Would he rather Kamala Harris be the one in charge right now? I don't know, man. Some of the stuff I look at, these people that have made, their bones doing this. I've seen people say, if Trump's sorry he supported, or Tucker's sorry he supported Trump. It's these people saying, I'm sorry I supported Tucker. It's like, wow. I don't think this is playing out the way some of them thought it would. I don't think it's quite coming together the way they thought it. I don't know. I'm just telling you, we have seen, and we can't forget, let's not lose sight of all of the things, the accomplishments. And here's another good news piece. Yeah, the border's locked up. The fentanyl stopped flowing. All of these issues that are being addressed. You see the Maha movement making big strides as well. And now we're starting to see some of these indictments, the grand conspiracy case come into place, the Southern Poverty Law Center. I don't know about you, but crime, this is another big one. Austin Justice over on X writes, Memphis was one of the most dangerous cities in America, and it's now becoming a model for how to fight crime when you have a terrible DA. So let's get the stats. Let's get the story here by the numbers. Check it out. From the peak, murders are down now 47%. Carjackings down 48%. Robberies down 51%. Vehicle theft down 80%. Well, what's changed? State troopers took over the interstate patrol, freeing up local officers in Memphis. Police launched focused initiatives targeting fugitives, violent repeat offenders, and gang members. Of the National Guard there, the direction, obviously, of the governor and the president of the United States, targeting this area and crime, being tough on crime now. Federal agents, U.S. Marshals coming in, making over 9,000 arrests, including over 400 gang members, plus 629 illegal firearms seized. 150, here's another big one, 150 missing children located. Technology filling the gaps, police deploying license plate readers citywide, expanding drone use, opening a downtown command center. A cancer center went from a crime attempt every other week to absolutely none. And the stats show the story for themselves. Overall, crime is down more than 43% compared to the same period last year. Memphis still has a long way to go. It's still a pretty dangerous city, but its DA is still missing like 3 out of 4 every felony cases, according to the Post. In fact, the state legislature just passed a bill to audit and potentially remove the guy. He's a joke. But the city, and the help of President Trump showing the rogue DA he doesn't have to be a death sentence for public safety, flooding the streets with law enforcement, target repeating offenders, making arrests faster than he can dismiss them. It is a big difference, and it is good news. Again, and that's not something you're going to hear on the nightly news. That's just not a story you're going to get from Lester Holt or, Anderson Cooper. Is Anderson going to give you those deeds? Probably not. Anderson Cooper probably not going to give you that story. Probably not going to tell you what the truth is. Again, big news today. Senate passing the DHS. Well, that's the other thing that people are wondering about the Department of Homeland Security and the Senate, the SAVE Act, etc. We're hearing some good things on the horizon there too. I don't know. Is all hope lost? I tend to think not. However, I do get frustrated. I'm like you at times. I do get frustrated. But we have to take these situations, these cases specifically, and we have to celebrate at times for what they are. The good news that is there. That's just part of the reason why we're doing what we do on an everyday basis, trying to get the truth, logic, and common sense out to folks. But the other thing is try to pull as many people as we can out of the doom and gloom, chicken little sky is falling, because that's the demoralization that propaganda does. That's what these foreign adversaries, that's what the enemies even within want to do to Americans. They want you feeling hopeless and helpless. Why? That causes apathy. When you sit on the couch, either thinking, hey, trust the plan, I don't have to do anything, in sort of like a toxic optimism scheme, or on the other hand, it's toxic pessimism. You sit on the couch and say, there's nothing I can do. That's when the enemy wins. I'll go back to what I've always said, folks. Doesn't matter what the headlines say. Doesn't matter. CNBC or CNN or MSDNC, even Fox News. Doesn't matter what the bad, sort of scary, spooky headlines say from day to day. The talking heads and the rest of them. The good news is that God is still on the throne and you're not alone. But he needs you to stand up. He needs you to take action, be participants in this whole thing. That's what we're called to do. So don't give up. Dig in fact. Join us all together in the fight. Ask him what your role to play is, and then walk that out. We're all here to do that together. And I think you're going to see that happen in a much bigger way, even here on into the future. Thanks to the folks for joining us today. We appreciate you being here with us as always. Make it a great one. God bless.
I'm Dr. Kirk Elliott, founder of Kirk Elliott Precious Metals. After being in the industry for more than a decade, I knew there was a better way. It's an exciting time to invest in gold and silver with the most significant bull market I've ever seen. But please don't overpay for your stuff. At KEPM, we focus on low-cost bullion only, and we don't charge a commission when you sell. We would love to connect with you, so call our office at 720-605-3900
or go to goldwithjustin.com today.